Oh, hey guys, how are you? It is Max Powers. Once again, I am cooking in my quarantine kitchen. Um, but I'm actually going to cook this time. Over the last couple weeks, all I've had were basic supplies in my fridge. Yesterday, I was able to make a shopping run, so now I've got some food that I can cook. Tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a couple of little shepherd's pies that go on a keto diet so that I can eat them. I'm going to make one for me to eat over the next probably 2 meals, so 3 days. I don't like to eat 2 things in a row, or the same thing 2 days in a row, rather. I'm going to make a shepherd's pie. Second one will go in the freezer. I can have that, I don't know, days down the road, just pop it in the oven and finish it off. Yeah, so that's what I'm doing today. I'm gonna bring the camera over here and I will show you what I've got set out, what I'm going to use in it, and we'll go through the process of building my shepherd's pie. Key things, well, here we go. I was going to move the camera. I've got my ground beef all defrosted. I've been buying the ground beef in little burger patties. They stay frozen that way. You can defrost one meal at a time, or in this case I defrosted 3 of them, so it's 3/4 of a pound of meat. The other key thing that I'm going to do right now is get ready to cook. Okay guys, so here we go. I've got my defrosted ground beef right here. This is a grass-fed beef. I'm using grass-fed rather than grain-fed because I am on a low-carb diet, and apparently I think my food should be too. I've got some baby bella mushrooms right here that I'm going to slice. They're all washed. I don't submerge my mushrooms in water when I wash them. I just wipe them down with a damp paper towel. They don't absorb as much moisture that way, and they're much easier to cook. I've got some actual butter. This is bacon. There's a video either coming up or that you've already seen where I show you how I package all my food so that I've got it in usable portions that I can just defrost a little bit at a time, and it lasts a lot longer that way. I've got a shallot, which I'm going to use for flavor. I really like the flavor of shallots and butter. It's a great thing to add to any meal. Okay, and then some other things that I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do yet. So I have a balsamic glaze right here. I've got a mustard right here. I've got a goat cheese. And I don't know if I'm going to sprinkle that on top or put it in with my mashed cauliflower, which is going to be my layer of potato. Or if I'm going to just sprinkle it on the top, I don't know. I might have already said that. But so that's what I'm doing so far. Little cheats. I've got my bowl of water because I don't have a sink in my pandemic kitchen or my quarantine kitchen, and the towels that I wipe my hands on. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to start a frying pan so that I can get this stuff all together. I'm going to start chopping. All right, so let's get some pans out and ready. First thing I'm going to do is get the pan for my cauliflower ready. I'm just going to spray in some coconut oil to the bottom and make sure I coat that well. This is just spitting because I didn't run it under hot water, but it'll be good. It'll be fine. There we go. All right. For my frying pan, which is what we're going to prepare the meat in. And I know a shepherd's pie is usually done with lamb. I'm using beef today. It's grass-fed beef, so it'll be a little more gamey. It's not going to be as good as lamb, but there's a pandemic outside, working with what I got. Hopefully it's not inside. Okay, so I'm going to drop some of my ghee right in the pan. Okay. There we are. Get these suckers fired up. The pan for the cauliflower, I am going to keep on low. And the pan for the beef, because I'm going to be cooking, is going to be on probably just below medium. I'm going to use a whole bag of the cauliflower because I am preparing 2 dishes. Okay. Pop a lid on that, slide it back like I did yesterday, today without dropping it. And we're just going to let that stuff soften up. We've got a good long time that we can do that. My butter is melting and I was a little premature on that, so I'm going to shut it off because I haven't chopped anything. Move my meat over here. I suppose you'd probably like to see this instead of going from far away. So I'm going to come adjust the camera and we'll go from there. Hopefully we don't have to worry about if anyone's squeamish and doesn't like the sight of blood, but one of the things that MS has done is made my fine motor skills deplorable. So, see what I'm saying? Okay. That's a bigger layer than I really wanted to take off, but that'll be plenty. A small shepherd's pie. Okay. I used to be really good with a knife. Not so much these days. Okay. So. Move the shallots over here. Get some. I don't like the look of that. Chop up some mushrooms. Just going to stop and check on. I don't know where to put that. There we go. Okay. Make sure nothing's sticking. Okay. And back to the fun stuff. Third thing, I'm going to chop up some of the bacon here. If I can figure out how to unwrap it. There we go. Kind of This is actually a very sharp knife. It's just room temp bacon, which is very smushy. And flexible, right? Bacon goes with everything. It's very flexible. Okay. So there we go. There are my basic ingredients to start with, along with the meat that's over there. Probably should have used the bigger pot, but this'll do. We'll figure it out. Okay, into this hot pan. First we're going to turn it down some, and then we'll get some shallots. And some bacon. I should have put the bacon in first, given it a minute or two, but some days my brain just doesn't work in the proper fashion. Oh, yeah, I really should have. My shallots are going to be a little brown. Okay, we'll get those in there. This'll be pretty good, right? Just gonna move that around. Brown everything up nicely. Wish I weren't browning the shallots so well. Just to keep things moist and moving in there. Gonna add a little bit more ghee. All right, and we'll get these mushrooms moving along. Get them nice and soft and brown. Okay, so as I do this, I'm going to give you guys a break. And I'll be back to add the meat. Alright guys, so here we are. My cauliflower has all defrosted, basically. It's at a nice consistency. I'm just going to leave it on the heat for a little longer, and then I'm going to shut that down. My mushrooms and shallots and bacon are coming along really nicely. I'm just going to get them a little more brown before I start tossing the meat in, because the meat's going to brown quickly. So one of the other things, I hope you can see it here, is by not washing the mushrooms, by just wiping them down. When you wash them, they absorb the water, and you'll get two things. They'll hold the water, or they'll start to expel the water. What they do when they don't have that water is they start to absorb the juices that are around them. So it's taking in the flavors of the butter, the shallots, the bacon. And that's going to make for some great flavor in my shepherd's pie, or whatever kind of pie it is. My shepherd's pie inspired meal, we'll call it, so I don't get a bunch of cranks out there telling me what a shepherd's pie really is. Okay. So I've got just a little bit of goat cheese here, and I'm going to sprinkle that in, and that's basically going to give a little flavor to the, we'll melt it right into the cauliflower. And that's just going to give a nice little something to that top layer. I also reserved some. Now it was just, I don't measure anything. It was just like that much, right? If you're wondering how much I put in like that much. Just watch more closely next time. There's a little bit left in here. I'm going to sprinkle that over the top when it goes in the oven so that it browns beautifully. Okay. So, oh, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah. You know? So I'm going to knock that down. Shut the temp off. If I can turn that knob, I don't know why I had such trouble. I'm going to pop this on, just hold some of the heat in while I build this. Okay. Oh, that's getting perfect right there. So I am going to just start taking chunks of this. You'll hear it sizzle as it hits the pan. I'm dropping it in. Looking for areas of empty pan. As I run out of them, I'm just going to scoop the mushroom layer over the ground beef layer. It's not going to be over all of it, but that way the juices are dripping down. It's getting the butter and the flavor that's in the pan up into the meat, and the rest of the juices are going to flow down into it. Whoops, I might have just made that up. I don't know. I'm not a chef. I just like food and I can't afford to go out. Clean the fat off my hands. Okay. So I'll show you what I'm basically going to be doing is breaking this meat down and browning it. I don't want to touch it too much because I want it to get nice and brown. I'm going to spread, like I said, that mixture over the top. At this point, I'm going to put a little salt. But you know what? I've got two choices of pepper. I've got this, which is kind of a sweet version. It's rainbow peppercorns. Today, I'm going to use this, which is just the straight black peppercorns. I won't kill it because I tend to like some black pepper. I'm going to just keep cooking this. When it gets to a point I think you should know about, I'll come back to you. All right, guys. Excuse me. We're at the, I don't think I have coronavirus. I think I have allergies. We are at that point in the show where you've got some choices to make. The meat is nicely cooked, It's not too much cooked because I still have to put it in the oven. It's absorbed all those flavors from the shallots, the mushrooms, and the bacon. And it is probably tasting pretty good right now. I've only salt and peppered it, and I think that that's all that I'm gonna do. So, where do we go from here? I didn't go to a liquor store, so I don't have brandy. If I had brandy, here's what I would do, or cognac. I would add a little red wine, get all the brown off the bottom of the pan, deglaze the pan with that while everything's still in there. I would put just a dollop of a nice Dijon mustard, like a nice flavorful, seedy Dijon mustard. Yes, I like seedy things. Toss that in there while I was deglazing the pan. Don't let the wine boil. Then I would take a shot of the brandy or the cognac and I would throw it in and I would light it on fire. Be a big blue flame. When that flame dies down, with you kind of gently moving things around so that it doesn't start to boil, that'll give you some great flavor. And that would be the base of the shepherd's pie. I'm pointing to these. That would, really be a nice juice in there. I don't have brandy. Second option would be you could take like a little, is it a roux? You want to take equal parts flour and butter. Mix them up so they're fully incorporated, like you're making a pie crust. And then you're going to throw that in, just like a tablespoon of each. That's all. Throw that in. Mix that in. It'll go down. That can boil, and as it boils, that's going to form a nice sauce. It's going to take all the juices, and I'm going to make it into this really nice gravy. I can't eat the flour. So what I'm going to do right now, first I'm going to steal this beautiful piece of bacon that I stirred out of the pan somehow. Oh, only one side of it was cooked. Oh well. That's why we keep wine around, right? I'm going to take the easy way out. This is the balsamic glaze. Just going to use a little. I don't know what the measurement on that you saw. It was like a 2 count, squeezing with that kind of top, not a full open top. Right? We'll put that in and see how it goes. And that is going to be the base for the flavor. I think the balsamic vinegar or the balsamic glaze with all these flavors, and then the goat cheese that's in the cauliflower topping, I think they're going to go together really, really well. So that's why I chose to do that. Plus I had the ingredients and I can eat it. So as I do this, you can see, I hope, the color getting a much richer red from all that balsamic. It was just a hint of balsamic, and you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to add a little more, give it a little more of that color and that richness. That was another 2 count. It is no longer a hint of balsamic glaze, it's more of a suggestion. There we go. That's the color I'm looking for. Okay. I'm going to let some of those juices cook off. So I'm going to turn it up just a hair while I do that. And then I'm going to start building them. You can hear it popping already. That's the beauty of gas. So I'm going to allow that to happen. Allow the juices to incorporate and burn off. I'm going to start building in just a minute, and I'll bring you back when I do that. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to get 2 of these or 1.5. I'm prepared with pans either way, but I'm going to build one with you, and then I'll build the other one off camera because these things get pretty long. So it's looking like it's going to be 1.5. Just going to spread that out. Measure to make sure I have a second one in here. Okay. Probably could have used a little more meat, but I am only cooking for one. That was pretty good. Excuse me. Okay. The second part of the plan. Oh, I used the wrong spoon. That one had the meat. It's not going to be as pretty, but that's life. And this is going to be one big pan, one small pan. So I might put the big pan in the freezer and cook the small pan tonight. How's that sound? So there we go. The next thing I'm going to do is just take some of these goat cheese. It's just the bottom, and it's all those little things of goat cheese. I'm going to sprinkle it across the top. You know, and hopefully that browns up. I'm going to save some for the other one. It's not a lot, but it'll give it a nice browned finish. The other thing I'm going to do is just do a little bit of fresh cracked pepper on top. So where is it? There it is. I'm going to pop that in an oven, like a 400-degree oven for about 25 minutes, and that'll let everything mingle. And it should brown the top nicely. And there is my shepherd's pie. I'm going to finish cooking them, remember, 4 to 425, somewhere around there, for about 25 minutes until everything's integrated beautifully. You could... I didn't put any greens in here, but there is cauliflower on the top, which is a vegetable. You could, if you want to just do a one-dish meal, maybe chop some asparagus and have put that in with the Hamburg. You could serve it with a nice green salad, you know, something to add a little bit of green to the plate next to it. I think I'm just going to eat it like this, though. All right, I'm going to pop it in the oven, and I'll show you the finished product. So the one problem that I really had was that the top didn't brown, and I couldn't put it under the broiler because there's no broiler in that oven. I contemplated using this. It would be fun, but I refrained just in case I burnt it. I went through all the effort to cook it. So I'm going to sit, I'm going to try it, I'm going to eat it. And we shall see how this goes. Incidentally, I ended up cooking the small pan. And it should have been a smaller pan, but that's all right. It is pretty decadent. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Pardon me while I chew in your ear. I would definitely not add a green vegetable to it. I would, however, serve it with like a nice side salad with a balsamic vinaigrette or something like that. Something fairly mundane. Maybe even just like, yeah, the vinegar and oil and vinegar might be too much. So if you have a very soft balsamic vinaigrette and a side salad, that would go beautifully with this. So that is one more meal from my quarantine kitchen. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me for a bit. And if you try this, I hope you enjoy the dinner. Have a good one.